And speaking of which, while authorities here at home are investigating how Shepherd Bushiri and his wife Mary fled the country, well, the self-proclaimed prophet insists that he's not trying to evade trial. He says he is, however, seeking help from his home country. So let's get the latest now from a Malawian correspondent for AFP News Agency who had a chat with Bushiri. Jack McBrams joins us now. Jack, good to have you. Good morning to you. Now, you, of course, had the opportunity to speak to Shepherd Bushiri, particularly about why he fled, knowing very well that, some of the bail conditions was that he needs to only travel between the northwest and Gauteng in South Africa, but also he has to at least clock in at the police station at a particular time every single day. What did he have to say for himself?
Good morning. When I spoke to him on Saturday, the impression that he gave was that his life is in danger, and the only reason that is coming to Malawi is that he has to protect the interests of his family. And he actually claims that he has presented evidence to the South African Police Service to the effect that there have been threats to his life several times, that there was an attempted shooting at a filling station, and then there have been other threats from several sources. So he says the South African Police Service is in possession of those of the evidence relating to that.
Did he say anything about the title deeds that he was supposed to submit to the Hawks?
He did not allude to any title deeds, but he did explain that he has not sold any property in South Africa, nor made any transfer for property or funds to dispose of any of his wealth in South Africa. So that implies that he still has interest in South Africa, that he's not fleeing in South Africa, but he's just in Malawi to seek protection for his life and for his family's safety.
I think fled is still the appropriate word, Jack, to use here, because if he had sought, that protection, perhaps he would have done it a different way. He would have probably asked for permission. He would have probably tried to apply with the South African government. He would probably notified the Malawian presidency, but he did it in a way that insinuates that he was running away. He was escaping when nobody was aware that that is happening. But, did he ever express to you any plans to voluntarily come back to South Africa, despite the fact that the South African government at this point has started the extradition process to have him come back?
He has given these conditions, as he did in the initial press release that he released on Saturday morning, that he will only return to South Africa upon those conditions being met. From reading the press release and from interviewing him, he gives the impression that he does not trust the South African system, both the government and the police system, as well as the judicial system, because he says he is facing persecution in South Africa, not prosecution. So he wants the Malawian government to intervene. I think he's trying to seek a diplomatic channel towards freedom.
Now, we know that he supported Chakwera in his run for presidency, trying to get more details about how he fled the country. What sort of support did he have possibly from the president or the foreign minister, who there also reports that they were able to meet each other and have a conversation?
Unfortunately, at the time that I interviewed the foreign minister on Saturday afternoon, we're not aware of the fact that he had met with Chakwera, with the prophet in South Africa on Tuesday, apparently. So, but the foreign minister did emphasize that the Malawi government is not offering any favors, any undue favors to Prophet Bushiri, and that the rule of law will prevail. So we may not be aware of any underhand dealings that may have been happening between the presidency or the government and Prophet Bushiri. That will remain mere speculation.
So did we get more details on his escape, how it all played out?
Right now, it's mere speculation, but reports indicate that he did travel by road from South Africa via Bay Bridge into Zimbabwe and into Malawi on Thursday.
Now, I understand, Jack, that you also had a conversation with the Foreign Affairs Minister in Malawi. What did he say to you?
Because he said that in retrospect, because they were frisked at the airport as they left South Africa, and they were held for 8 hours, but they were not aware of the fact that they were being harassed. I think that's the right way to use. They were being harassed on account of the fact that they were being suspected of shielding or trying to smuggle out Bushiri. But only when they arrived in Malawi and were aware of the fact that Bushiri was in Malawi did they think of the fact that was probably the fact that they were being harassed by the South African immigration authorities. But they said they were not aware of the fact that Bushiri had fled South Africa, and they were only aware of the fact when they arrived in Malawi and when Bushiri issued this press release.
I mean, I'm also asking because the Malawian government had expressed to ENCA that they want to continue building on their relationship with South Africa. They would never undermine, the government of South Africa. But with that being said, did they ever express to you that they will cooperate with the South African government in assisting them to ensure that Bushiri and his wife are back so they can face their trial?
The emphasis by the Foreign Affairs Minister was that the rule of law will take precedence over everything else. So that means that they will abide by the SADC protocols that of extradition. That means they will definitely extradite Bushiri back to South Africa if and when that request comes to Malawi.
And Jack, we care a lot about this story here. Many people have been impacted by it. I mean, we are stunned that he was able to flee the country. Do people care about the story over there?
I think basically people it's turned into a fun story here in Malawi. People don't really. It's just one of those stories that people have turned into some comedy. It hasn't taken so much precedent, so much as a news story. So people are just enjoying themselves and making fun, especially on Twitter. I think people are basically indifferent because it has no real impact on the lives of Malawians. I think that's my analysis.
All right. Well, Jeff, thank you so much for talking to us and keeping us up to speed with what's been happening in Malawi. Jack McBrams, the AFP correspondent.